You're not going to believe who was the most improved public body at the Corporate Governance Awards 2019. It was the NSWMA. Yup, the National Solid Waste Management Authority, aka the garbage people. Now, when you think of garbage, you usually think, well, trash, and they used to be considered a trash agency too, but not anymore. I'm Kalila Reynolds, and today I'll be talking to Audley Gordon, Executive Director of the NSWMA, about why corporate governance is important and how they've turned things around, and also, what's in it for me? The Ministry of Finance, in collaboration with Kalila Reynolds Media, present What's in It for Me? Follow at MOF Jamaica on social media. Hi, Audley. It's good to see you again. It's been a minute.
Hi, very good to see you too, Kalila. Happy to be with you.
And in good circumstances too, because I see that the NSWMA was crowned the most improved public body at the last Corporate Governance Awards in 2019. And that is a huge accomplishment, because I remember my radio days, which were up until recently, where NSWMA has been criticized, dragged through the coals over several years for various reasons. And now you're the most improved. So congratulations.
Can't say how happy we are, and thank you very much. You will recall that we have had a very bad history, and the new board came in, I think it's 2015, headed by Chairman Dennis Strong. And they really set about revolutionizing the way things operate at the National Solid Waste Management Authority. Jamaica really owe them a debt of gratitude, quite frankly. And especially our corporate governance chair, Mrs. Camille Facey, who night and day sing the doctrine of corporate governance in our ears. She's a stickler for this corporate governance discipline. And we are really, really happy with where we are now at the agency. We have managed to align the agencies along the strictures of the framework of the corporate governance. And so accountability, transparency, and probity are watchword at the agency now. And really hats off to the leadership of the board, headed by Chairman Chong, and the support from the corporate governance chair, Director Facey, and our minister, of course, who have allowed them pretty much a free hand to transform the agency.
And kudos to you too, Audley, because I remember when you got the job, there was some doubts that you were the right person for the job, but you have shown a great leadership, and we see those results. So walk me through the process of becoming the most improved. What were some of the things that you had to do there at the NSWMA to tighten up the ship?
Well, firstly, you will recall that we had 10 years, maybe a little more than 10 years of outstanding audit. This is where we weren't doing our audits. Now, that's kind of unthinkable, but that's true. That was the situation. And as difficult as it was to tidy up those 10 years, the board embarked, they gave the directive for us to embark on that pursuit. And night and day, we worked relentlessly to get that under control. All whilst doing that, we are putting in the kind of policies that will help to guide the agencies as we seek to govern ourselves with the framework in mind. It was not easy, but we are all proud today for what we were able to do. And I must say hats off to the staff of the NSWMA, especially those in the accounts department, but all the staff who work assiduously towards this end. We now have in place a good risk management, enterprise risk management framework. We have whistleblowing policy. We have sexual harassment policy, to name a few. And we continue to look wherever we see a gap, we seek to build out the kind of policy support to ensure that we don't have any of those gaps operating in the agency. So right now, we are a well-run agency in terms of the policies that we have in place. In terms, importantly though, we must speak in terms of the buy-in to these policies, because I must tell you that what we have done is seek to bring the policies to the wider working population of the NSWMA. So even our sanitation workers out there, we would have put them into a room and we would have talked to them about the different policies that we're putting in, sexual harassment, allow them to ask questions, and try to answer those questions for them. If we don't have the answer on spot, we go and we get it back to them. So it's a whole family of support. It's not just the directorship, it's not just the board, but the entire NSWMA is feeling that transformation.
Yeah. So I know there are different categories at the Corporate Governance Awards, and policies is one of them. What were some of your other weak areas that you've been able to dramatically improve on?
Well, the culture here, you know that if you go back into our history, you would have seen a lot of, people talk about the malaise, the corruption, the people not taking pride in the job, stuff like that. So we were able to, first of all, convince the sanitation workers that they play a very important role in the NSWMA setup. And we did that by, first of all, bringing them into training. Annual training, where we bring different people from different disciplines, whether it be customer service, we're talking about personal hygiene, we're talking about the NSWM Act, we bring the legal representative there to talk about the act that governs them. Everything, but the training at the lower end, from the sweeper to the sanitation worker, that was a big thing. Then we talk about putting uniform, getting a uniform structure in place where they know that they are part of a uniform group, and that in itself evoke a certain discipline. And we work to correct that, and that is now a feature of everyday life here at the NSWMA. So there was a grand program to change the culture on every level, not just in terms of the policy up top, but in terms of the behavior, the regular Joe that works at the NSWMA, how they carry themselves, how they think about themselves. We have regular staff meetings, we have regular directors meeting, managers meeting. We have devotions, for example. So everything is part and parcel of creating a family atmosphere and to get the buy-in of all as we push forward to build this new NSWMA.
Absolutely. So I'm looking at the various categories for the awards: board composition, functions, and structure, 25%. And you spoke to the new board that you've had, led by Dennis Chung. Corporate governance policies, procedures, and practices, that accounts for 30%. And that's the largest bulk of the share. And you outlined the policies that have been implemented since you've been there: compliance and disclosure of information, risk measurement, and internal control. So there are very specific things that the people who judge these awards are looking for. Now, tell me about, has it had an impact? I know that you don't do these things just to win an award, but has there been an impact? Have these awards had an impact on the performance of the NSWMA as a public body?
Absolutely, it does, because it, first of all, it's inspirational. It really inspires us. We feel good. With the average staff, we feel there's a feeling, a thrill that yes, we are part of something good. And that in itself just evoke a feeling of accomplishment, and that drives the motivation that we have each day to come to work. But more, the winning the award, it is getting us to see ourselves not just as part of something good, but to do the work in the right way, to govern the authority the right way. So if we are to be true to our core value, which is attire, A for accountability, T for transparency, T for teamwork, I for integrity, R for respect, E for excellence. If we are to be true to that, if we are to really bring that to the wider public that we serve, then nothing better can help us stay in tune than to have the corporate governance framework as our base, as the basis for which we go to work each day. It pins us in, it nails us into this frame where we must do things right. And once we do things right, it will benefit not just the NSWMA, but it benefit the wider populace in many ways. You will have a more efficiently run company. When you have a more efficiently run company, there's less chance of leakages, and they start talk about corruption, become redundant. When people figure that things are being done properly, there is a greater trust that comes from the public themselves. Once the people begin to trust you, you can have a better conversation with them. You get better buy-in for your different programs, and you get them to participate. And I always say that solid waste management is a partnership. No matter what we do here, we could put all the policies in place. If the average citizen not playing their part, we will fail. So we want that buy-in, and operating within the context of the corporate governance framework, showing that we are doing things the right way, is probably the best medicine if we're going to get the public to come to our side of the ledger, to help us, to support us. People gravitate to good. They want to see something being done properly. And when we convince them of that, then we get the support. So yes, it is a win-win.
So true. Thank you so much, Audley, and congratulations. I love to see the growth and the progress, and I look forward to more from the NSWMA.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that's what's in it for me. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Until next time. What's in it for me was presented by the Ministry of Finance in collaboration with Kalila Reynolds Media. Follow at MOF Jamaica on social media.
Let's get this money.